live.
Welcome, everybody, to Around the Shroom, our pre-All-Star Game Wildcard session. I'm your host, Dawson, here with my newly minted Season 3 Commentator of the Year. Welcome to the show, Tay.
What's up, guys? And nice to be here. Nice to be on Around the Shroom.
Your first time. I mean, you know, we're a historic show. We've mixed it up past couple weeks, but I think it's brought some new energy into the room. The new conversations. It's been really interesting. I love to have you. How does it feel to be joining some pretty rare air with James and Brandon in Commentator of the Year awards for now season 3?
No, it's nice to be nominated and have won, as those guys are some legendary commentators. You know, I come in and do what I need to do and just put on a good show for the fans at home. Try to make a good joke here and there and make sure to add a good mix of stats and fun.
You know, absolutely deserved. This was an award I certainly was pushing for on from my end of the booth. So exciting to see where you go from here. But before we get on to our first segment, got to shout out our sponsors. Long time fans know all about Lil BJ's and Rosalina's been one of our newer sponsors, as well as Waluigi's Daycare, Donkey's Delicious Desserts, and the Toadworth Foundation, of course. We got to shout out our sponsors and all the amazing work they do.
Yes, thank you to the sponsors.
But that'll take us on to our very first session here, the All-Star Game. Here are if you haven't seen it yet, here is your All-Star teams, where the Norse Eat Soot is going to be coached by Tay. I'm not sure if this is your version of you or if this is a different person.
We all go in the same bout. So yes, this is the team that I constructed.
Okay, so if you'd like to present that team, go right ahead.
You know, we got some great pitching depth on this team. We got Red Pianta starting for us. We got Daisy and Berto subbing in whenever is needed. One of those two, I believe, will make Daisy our captain heading forward into the game. And then we have a glorious critter outfield, and we got Big Fatty out there at second base. I apologize, but we have Red Critter at shortstop as well, and JT2 rounding out the team. You know, she's been one of the better me's in the league, so we put her in at third base, seeing as she didn't have any chemistry with anybody. But I feel like third base would be the place to go for JT2, such an amazing player for the Wigglers. And then batting wise, we got Daisy starting off, amazing hitter, as well as Birdo, and then Red Pianta, Red Critter, and Big Fatty in those prime scoring position spots, as well as Critter, Blue Critter, Brown Critter, rounding out the bottom part of the lineup in JT2. She doesn't really have chem, so she's at the bottom. That way she gets, I would say, the least amount of bats, just because of chem purposes.
I mean, it's always great to see Me's crack an all-star lineup. We've had Spivey has been the pretty much go-to player for this, often on the North East Soot team that we've seen just be a really great stalwart pitcher, but getting some new blood in there with JT2 erupting in her sophomore season. No sophomore slump for JT2. So really excited to see what JT2 is going to bring to the table. But if I'm reading this correctly, is this the first time we've seen all of the critters together, all the Kremlings on one team, including Big Fatty?
This is the first time they've all been on the same team. There's been a couple of games where they've played against or they've all played against each other. Shout out to the Warp Zone Warriors and Critter Crew teams. But this is the first time that all 5 critters will be together playing.
Hold on.
Now,
Mike Toad.
Mike Toad just crashed the party. But as we look to the Western, I'll run it down for you. This is going to be coached by Spivey, your other leader here, and the coach of the Western Conference. Pitching, starting with Bowser, uh, catching by Triple B himself. You've got Dry Boner at first, Yellow Kamek at second, Yellow Shy Guy at
Oh,
short. Oh,
Uh,
I, Mike Toad, there's something happening. Got Wiglet at third, Funkin left, Dixie in center, right field, DK. Going down the batting order, we got Yellow Shy Guy leading it off, the violation, the violator himself at second, Dixie at third, DK with cleanup, Funky in fifth, Drybone sixth, Bowser at seven, and Triple B at eight, and Wiglet at nine. A really interesting lineup. Tons of power on this side as well. I mean, you're just seeing, a couple players coming together in a way that we don't get to see frequently. I mean, Bowser and DK have certainly, you know, we some may project to see them again in the semifinals, but seeing them come together with all their power, it's going to be an exciting game for sure.
Indeed, those two are three-time All-Stars, so they've played in these games together. So it'll be interesting to see if they can team up and get the Western a win here, as they are 2-0 to the NES so far. So it'll be interesting to see if those two can help get NES to the Western Conference to their first win in this All-Star game.
It's going to be interesting. Do you have a lean either way in this one?
Having all five critters and the fact that everybody in this all-star game is going to be starred, it'll be rough to get around that, especially with the great pitching depth that NES has. No nod to, no slight to the Western Conference, but I just believe the NES roster is really well put together, and they have no lack of power in any of those batters other than JT2. But she's going to be at the end of the lineup, so she won't be seeing as much as the rest of the team. And I think the NES will remain undefeated here and be 3-0 to end this season in the All-Star game.
It's certainly going to be a tall order to overcome the Western, but if this is the team that can do it, I really do like the pitching depth that the Western has. And it's a little sort of shocking to see Funky not take the mound as his preeminent starting role, but I know they want to keep that outfield chemistry. I think I like the Western outfield a good bit better. We've never seen a full critter outfield, so this is going to be possibly really interesting as we move into the next season and see if a team can lock something like that down moving forward. But I think we're going to learn some things in this as ahead of the wild card matchups. I'm gonna lead Western. I think the Western are going to finally get it done. These games have been not necessarily close, as North East has kind of carried this matchup, but perhaps we're going to see something new. Uh, but any final thoughts as we head into our next segment?
Not really. This is the gonna be the final matchup between these conferences. As the 10-team league is taking storm in a bunch of the GM talk. So this may be the final matchup between North Sea Suit and Western Conference.
You'd hate to see the Western go out sad, so we'll see if they'll be able to put up a fight in this one.
I agree.
All right, well, moving into our pick'ems here. Uh, I have ended up the season on a dead 10-10, which is kind of nasty work. A couple maybe hopeful guesses here late, but you know what? We're doing our very best. Nathan sat with four less losses than me, same number of wins. Spivey came in last week and went 2-2, so we're sitting pretty similar. Now, as we look at these games, our first matchup is actually inverted. So the Royals will take on the Warriors. Where are you looking as we take a look into the first nine inning matchup that we've seen this season?
This is This is gonna be very interesting to see. You got two NES teams playing each other. You got two Western teams playing each other, and these are both rivalry matchups going into this game. However, I'm not gonna put any, too much bias into it. I hate all of these teams from my GM standpoint. So, uh, going into this one, it's a matter of who GM Tay wants to play in the next round. This Royals team, I feel like, is significantly worse than Warp Zone Warriors simply because they have worse hitting. So I'm going to go with the Warp Zone Warriors in that matchup.
Interesting. No, no. You don't think the Royals are going to be able to outlast them pitching depth wise?
Pitching, I don't think it's gonna too much matter for Warp Zone or for Warp Zone because, like I said, the Royals don't really have much hitting power. The Toads every once in a while they hit a bomb. The Piantas, Yellow Pianta in that last game was scary. I thought Yellow Pianta was gonna clutch it up for the Royals, but she didn't, and or they didn't. And I just like the Warp Zone's roster right now. I just feel like they're the hot team heading into the postseason, and I just think they'll get it done over the Royals.
I think this would certainly be excitement for the Warriors. I mean, this is a long time coming to get a postseason win, and you get it done over your rivals. This certainly would be very exciting. I think there's this very same argument. You could look at the Royals. They're searching for their first postseason series win. I mean, and to do it over your rivals is the best feeling you can imagine. I'm really interested to see how these teams are going to be feeling each other out come late in this game. The Royals are certainly going to have the edge and getting to pick where they go. I think this ban is going to be incredibly key for the Warriors. If they're able to get it done and ban well and be able to outlast this Royals team, I'm right there with you. I think the Warriors do have it in the bag. This is just their game to lose, and you hate to say that right before they go into a wild card matchup, but maybe being the underdogs for the first time in a matchup, being lower seeded, might do them some good and let them play spoiler for the first time in their team's history.
I've said it any better.
Now we head to the other rivalry matchup, Fury and Pipe Dream. This has been certainly more lopsided than the other one has been. Fury dominated in the last game, but that first game, it's earlier this season, ended up on a Fury walk-off on Daisy Cruiser. What do you think as we head into this game? Do you see some new stories being written or the same story just being told again?
You know, this is the matchup where I'm just gonna have to favor the same story because Fury has been dominating this team since season one. Adding PD to the team has not been good for Pipe Dream as they've tried to build Kim around him. I think he has great Kim, and I think he has just been lackluster this season. He's not been performing, he's not been doing well, and it's shown. He's probably he's fallen off so bad. His defense is the only thing that's been consistent in games. And even then, it's taken a slight fall as he has a couple of errors in the season. So, like I said, this Fury team is really well put together. They have great pitching depth. They have some great bombs, some great bomb hitters, and the Fury items have just been working so well all three seasons. Like I don't think Pipe Dream can overcome it.
It's going to be tough. I mean, a 9 inning game with Peter in the postseason, he's done magic every single season. Last season was truly miraculous in what he was able to accomplish. But even in that first season, upsetting the Warriors in the last 2 innings, I mean, sure they had some help from Brandon, uh, but at the same time, that's still a team that overcame so much. And Peter was right there, the heart and soul of it. It feels like if there was ever a time for Peter to elevate, it's right now. I think that's the thing is Peter has to elevate in this game if he's going to make it happen. I feel like this pitching depth situation is it's going to be really interesting in that they both have 4 pitchers. I think the quality of the pitching depth certainly is a lot better on Pipe Dream side in the King Boo and Boo. Uh, and then Wario and Diddy being near parity. It's just how long is Bowser going to be in the game? If they can knock Bowser out of this game in the third, fourth, fifth inning, I mean, you're already in business. I mean, this is going to take a lot of offense. If you can get past that pretty stoic defense they have, I mean, this is really your game for the taking.
Well, considering that Bowser is getting the star in this game, the pitching will go Sean, Diddy, then Bowser, and a starred Bowser probably is not going to come out of that game. So it's going to be tough for Pipe Dream to overcome that, and it's even more reason for me to give Fury the nod in this one.
Fair. I'll lean Fury as well, just the historical precedence. But I'm terrified of what a Pipe Dream team can do with nothing to lose. This Pipe Dream team has just not beaten anybody of note. Like, the teams they beat are the 2 teams that aren't in the postseason. So they beat the teams they needed to squeak in. But that just is not the team that you want to be staring down the end of a barrel. If it comes down late and Peter has an opportunity, that just does not bode well for any team. So I'll lean Fury as well in this one, but I don't think that this is a surefire thing whatsoever.
I understand and completely. I still have to nod Fury by like 1,000.
No, and
So
that's understandable. But that'll take us down to our playoff predictions, and we'll go ahead and count those first picks right here and move us on into our semifinals. Where do you think we're going from here?
you know, we'll start off with the NES side of things. In a 5-game matchup between Warp Zone Warriors and Critter Crew, I think Warp Zone is probably the better team uh out of Royals and Fury. I mean Worlds and Warp Zone. And I feel like they can give Critter Crew a better run for their money. They've played Critter Crew close. Um and I think it genuinely comes down to map choice. I'm gonna have to go Critter Crew in this one. I'm gonna give them a 3. I'll say it's close. I'll say it's a 3-2 series. In Critter Crew's favor.
It's only a
Moving
3-game
on.
series, so does that change anything?
Oh, it's 3. Well, I say 2-1. I'm sorry. Uh, but moving on to the Western side of things, Slugging Heat and Fury. It's been amazing to see these 2 teams slug it out. This is a season 1 championship team. I mean, season 1 championship matchup, and these 2 teams are amazing. I think Slugging Heat, coming off of a rough win, will take it. The rough last game against Fallout Boys, takes the win there and advances. And in the finals, you got Crew and Heat. It'll be interesting to see. And I'm gonna give it to Crew, as Slugging Heat is known to choking in the finals. They have been final chokers for 2 seasons in a row. And I believe in history, and I think they'll do it again. It'll be 3-2 in that series.
Another close loss. Interesting. And what was your pick for Heat Fury? What was was that 2-1 as
The
well?
record, I say that one's also close. I say 2-1. Slugging Heat.
Interesting.
I feel like Slugging Heat comes out, wins first game, and then in the second one they have a stinker and Bowser goes off and Fury just wins and dominates. And then game 3, Slugging Heat gets everything together and they win that final game.
Interesting. Well, I'll certainly agree with you in the first one. I think Critter Crew has a team, a roster built to compete in the postseason. I think that I don't think that they're upset proof. I think the Warriors are going to at least take one game. This could either be a 2-0 or 2-1. Those are the 2 options. So I think Critter Crew has the depth to make this happen. I am concerned about the depth of pitching because, especially in these 9 inning games, it can get out of hand in a heartbeat, and that's how Warriors upset this. Is they knock out the Crew pitching quickly and just put a whole lot of points on Crew, who just have not been able to score at a high level this season. It's just been so dependent on the defense. If the defense breaks down, this is Warp Zone Warriors series. But I like the defense. I'm going to lean on that in my pick here. And I'm going to say the Crew is going to be able to get it done 2-1 as well. But that last game's not going to be close. Or, well, not super close. This next matchup, Heat versus Fury, it really has come to define what the postseason means. I mean, granted, these two haven't matched up since season 1, but just these games have been so incredibly close between Fury and Slug and Heat just throughout the DSA. This past season, Slug and Heat just completely handles Fury in 2 games, making the only team that Fury has an even record against. So, I mean, this is probably one of the preeminent matchups of this postseason if it comes to pass. So it's just going to be really excited to see. I think the biggest piece of this is going to be a starred Bowser only gets to appear in game 2. I think no matter what happens, Fury will win game 2. It's just who wins game 1. If it is a Fury game 1, then Slug and Heat is going to have a mountain to climb. And it's just going to be so difficult for them to be able to climb out of a hole with starred Bowser waiting for them immediately following that. And that will be if Fury gets a map choice pick. It's just all going to be kind of a difficult hill to climb in that second game. But if they can take the first game, I think that this is going to be Heat series. I just think that these are 2 teams who have got absolutely humbled. The Fury was blanked by the Royals and bounced back against getting blanking Pipe Dream immediately after. But Slug and Heat hasn't had that chance for a rebound game. And if Fury is coming in hot, this is going to be a hard team to stop. And with that, I think Fury is going to upset the Heat in this one. I think it's going to be one of those games that just ends up going just 2-0 Fury favor. I think Fury just squeaks by and wins that first game. But then game 2 just is not even close. So I think that this is going to be another one of those heartbreakers for Slug and Heat. And then we'll be seeing them in the finals. Seeing Fury in the finals against Critter Crew. And this is just whenever you see 2 high-powered offenses going at it. A higher-powered offense versus a high-powered defense. And which is going to bend, which is going to break. And no matter which way the series goes, it's going to be 3-1. And as much to the chagrin of, possibly some that they hate to see the number 1 seed win it, I think Critter Crew is just going to be able to overwhelm Fury here. I think that they benefit from not seeing Slug and Heat in the finals. I would probably, if you see Slug and Heat against the Crew, I'm leaning Slug and Heat. But if it's Fury, I think Crew's going to be able to dispatch them with relative ease, despite the earlier season matchup and how that went. So, any thoughts for either of ours at this point?
That's very interesting. I agree with you in that Fury might be a better chance for the Critter Crew. I feel like that Slug and Heat game is going to be close against Critter Crew if it does come to fruition. And that Fury and Slug and Heat semifinal matchup is semifinal matchup is going to be crazy. So it'll be interesting to see. I could be very wrong with Warp Zone and Royals and Pipe Dream and Fury tonight. So I just want to see what happens. I'm ready to watch these games and ready to commentate in that All-Star game. So
absolutely.
I don't have anything else. I'm good.
We have one final thing. As the polls are wrapping up around us, you may have been able to see them. There's been some deliberation, some anger, some frustration about how all of this is run. But as we take a look, it looks like Funky Kong has just won MVP. Any thoughts on that, as opposed to Red Critter and Blue Critter?
No, it's well deserved for Funky. He did an amazing job pitching for Slug and Heat. and he has probably been a better hitter than DK this season. You know, he's not in a great amount of home runs. Whereas DK, he's done his job as well. I think he had four against the Wigglers, but Funky has just been very consistent with his hitting, and he's gotten more home runs. I feel like across all games than DK. Red Critter no and Blue Critter, no slight to them. Red Critter's been on an absolute tear for Critter Crew, as he's been a defensive menace. He's been an offensive powerhouse, and he's well enough to finish up there in top three in the voting, as well as Blue Critter for Warp Zone. They've both been amazing players for both of those teams. Probably both teams' best players. So no slight to them at all.
Absolutely. I was certainly a big fan of Red Critter throughout the season, but Funky just elevated to another level, especially late in the season. So absolutely deserved, in my opinion. We have two ties following that up with the comeback player. I know the comeback player specifically had a lot of controversy between Peach and Yoshi. What are your thoughts on this?
My thoughts, Peach starting off the season was not good at all. Started off on the Royals, played pretty bad to a certain extent, and then come into she gets traded to Pipe Dream, and then plays even worse for, I believe, the first game she played for Pipe Dream was even worse, and then the second game she played slightly better, and then gets traded to Slugging Heat and goes on a rampage. This is the best version of Peach we've ever seen. She's getting doubles. She's getting consistent hitting. She's getting on base. Something that we haven't seen from her yet. And then I believe in the last game she got a triple. So I've been nodding towards Peach in this whole race. Whereas Yoshi has, he's been okay. He's also hit a couple of doubles, and he's been consistently getting on base. But the volume at which Peach has been doing that for Slug and Heat has been, I believe, more beneficial to the team success. Whereas Yoshi, he played up until the trade deadline where the Warp Zone Warriors got Mario, and then Yoshi immediately got put on the bench for 2, 3 games at a time, and then he played in the final game, I believe, just for award situation. So if you're asking me which player I think deserves this award, I'm gonna tell you Peach every time, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. So
Well, it ended up going to Yoshi in the last moment. Had a couple late voters at the very end. So uh, I was a fan of Yoshi. I got to play devil's advocate a little bit here, and that Yoshi played very well off the very beginning, where Peach just struggled off the rip. Towards the end of the season, you have to give Peach her flowers, because Peach has absolutely been a part of the reason why the Slug and Heat team is just so interconnected, top to bottom of the roster. But I've just loved what Yoshi's been able to do on the mound, been able to do just defensively, that you just haven't seen on that Peach hasn't done in the same level. So most of Peach's accolades have been offensive, where Yoshi's has been more holistic. But as a whole, I think that both of these players definitely elevated in a way that we have been waiting for them this whole time. So, but with that being said, let's move on to best duo, and it looks like Blue Critter and Boomerang Bro squeaked out a victory just in the same way. Any last second thoughts between that? I know this is one of our more minor awards.
uh yeah, this one was a lot more minor. Me personally, I voted Daisy and Birdo. Because they have been the better duo. Blue Critter and Boomerang Bro, they've been getting it done. And not up until late, I believe. Boomerang Bro was just, a mediocre player for Warp Zone. Blue Critter was the better by far, and then Boomerang Bro didn't really blossom for them towards the end of the season. But Birdo and Daisy have been consistent all the way throughout, even though they may have lost, it was no slight to them at all. Um, but I think we're gonna have to redo some of these votes because there's some controversy in the GM box about a lot of these
We'll,
moving forward.
we'll see.
Um,
We'll see. I think that no matter what happens, is that these players have played phenomenally. I mean, a lot of these are in the postseason because of their great efforts. So, I mean, I perhaps comeback player and best duo, those ones are tough. But I think by and large, most of the winners are rightfully deserved. So, but with that being said, any final thoughts as we conclude our show for today as we head into the wild card matchups?
no final thoughts. I'm just glad to be here. Glad to be on this coveted show. Show's been around for a long time. One of my favorites in the DSA. Just glad to be a co-host.
Of course, and we love to have you, and hopefully we'll be able to see you back. But with that being said, thank you for watching. We have been around the shroom, and we will see you next time. I've been Dawson.
I've been Tay.
We will see you next time. Poor Nathan being server muted. That's rough.